Welcome to Off the Wall. My name is Trey. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out the show. We've got a really good one for you this week. We've got one of the best defensive players in all of indoor and arena football over the past decade on the show this week. We've got J.D. Griggs. That's right. Fresh off of an NAL championship with the Beaumont Renegades. We talked through his indoor football career, some of the trials and tribulations he went through this year with the Beaumont Renegades, some things he's learned throughout his career, as well as learning about his footwear and apparel brand that might be making some big moves here soon. So excited for you guys to check that out and hear everything that we talk through. We're also going to dive into the AF1 playoffs. We've got the Arena Crown matchup set in stone. And then we'll also talk through the past weekend of IFL action. NAL is all wrapped up. So we'll dive into AF1, IFL, and then we'll get out of here. But before we do any of that, it is time for social plugs. That's right. If you don't already, please make sure you're following us on socials at Off the Wall FB. F as in foot, B as in ball. Off the Wall FB. We're on Instagram, X, / Twitter, TikTok, all the things and stuff. Go give us a follow on there and come join the conversation. Always fun to engage with folks and hear different opinions. Troll each other, troll other people, share some memes, share some good memes, share some bad memes. Some of the memes are in between. It's a good time over there. But if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you're liking the video and subscribing to the channel as well, and sharing the video with a friend that you think may enjoy arena football or, banter, or JD Griggs. JD Griggs is a cool guy. I'm sure people will enjoy him more than they enjoy me. But if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please make sure you're doing the same with those platforms as well. Rating 5 stars, preferably, liking the episode and sharing it with a friend as well. Let's help grow this thing out as much as we can. It's been cool to see it all happen, and all the love and support is appreciated up to this point. So enough of that. Here's the interview with Mr. Griggs. All right, on the show this week, we have an all-league defensive lineman who is fresh off of an NAL championship season with the Beaumont Renegades. He's a longtime veteran of the arena game. His name is J.D. Griggs. J.D., really appreciate you hopping on here. How have things been with you and the rest of the guys since winning the National Arena League Championship about a week ago now?
Things have been great. We've been celebrating. We came back to Dallas. It was one of our teammates' birthdays, so celebrated. Turned up for a couple of days. They actually out right now for Sunday Fun Day. I'm just relaxing. I'm the old guy, so I'm relaxing right now. But we've been having fun and everything. Other people went back home to their states and everything, but they are having fun back at their homes.
Right. Yeah.
It's been pretty good.
They're keeping it going. Are you? Do you live in Texas full time?
Yeah. So I live in Dallas full time. Yeah, I've been here. Nice, okay. 2.5 years, 3 years now.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah. I love
Very
it.
Cool.
Love it out here. But I'm from New Jersey originally, so
right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I love it out here though. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, so I'm sure that contributed to signing with Beaumont, where it's not too terribly far. Not like you're having to travel across the country or anything to get there.
Yeah, it was easy. I could travel back and forth. It was only like about a 4-hour drive.
Oh, not bad at all.
Yeah, I could drive back and forth and stuff. Yeah, it was pretty good, cool little trips throughout the season and everything. When we had that long break for about a month. I was going back to Dallas almost every other weekend. So
right.
So yeah.
Well, we'll dive into this season in a bit, but to start, tell us a little bit about your journey through football and what ultimately led you to the arena and indoor game.
Okay. So I went to University of Iowa first. Coming out of high school, I went there and played tight end, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so I played tight end there, and I was there for 2 years. And then I transferred to a junior college in New York called Nassau Community College.
Mm-hmm.
We finished that season the number 2 JUCO in the country. And from there, I then went to University of Akron in Ohio. So I finished at University of Akron for 2 years there. Those 2 years were crazy because I went 1-11 both years.
Oh, man.
And I've never had, mind you, when I was at Nassau, we was undefeated. So yeah. And at Iowa, we won the Orange Bowl, Outback Bowl. So I'm used to winning.
Yeah.
Get to Akron, it was a different story. So yeah. But after Akron, though, did the combine, did different things, pro day and stuff, and different teams were hitting me up. So Jacksonville Jaguars invited me to their rookie mini camp.
Oh, nice.
I balled out of 80 players there. They chose me out of 80 players. So yeah, I stuck with the Jags for a little bit. Did some practice squad stuff with them, and then went to Canada. I went and played in Winnipeg.
Mm.
Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Played there for a season. At the Winnipeg, then I was relaxing. I was actually relaxed, thinking about just cutting ties with football and stuff like that. And then one of my old high school and junior college teammates, he and it's funny, with his name was Justin Blake, and if he had stuck in arena football, because he only played one season, but if he had stuck in arena football, he would have been a great arena football player.
Right.
And but he had started playing arena, and he asked me like, "What are you doing? You're not doing anything." I was like, "Yeah, I'm just chilling." He was like, "Just come play arena." So I was like, "All right." Came and played, fell in love with it. So I was playing with the Colorado. What were we were the Ice? No, the Crush.
Crush. Yeah.
Yeah, the Crush. And well, no, we're the Ice first,
Okay.
and then that's when they went back to the Crush for the last season. But I had got drafted in MLFB, so when they first came out,
Okay.
and so I didn't play the beginning of the arena season that year. And then but I finished the season, and ever since then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just dive into arena football and everything. I know it's
Yeah.
something that's guaranteed. I get some film and everything. It's pretty fun football. So I played in Spokane Empire,
Yeah.
and their last year there, 2017, and I led the league in sacks and tackles for loss that year. So yeah, that year I balled out because I played the entire season. So that was my
Yeah.
first real season in the arena. And then after that, once they folded, I went to Massachusetts, and I was there for 3 seasons, for 4 years, 3 seasons, all the way up to 2021 when we won the championship.
Awesome.
Yeah. Then I came to Frisco. I was with Frisco Fighters for 2 years, 2022, 23. And then I took a year off. I was actually retired, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
I literally hung it up and everything. Last season, I came to a lot of Frisco games and stuff just as a fan,
Yeah.
and then just watching different games on TV. I'm just like, I actually was satisfied with being retired until Sam Gordon, who was my business partner with FITA, um,
Okay.
he contacted me, and he actually contacted me 2 years ago. Asked me where would you like. He said, if you would like to start an arena football team, where would you like to start it? So I told him, I said Chicago, Atlanta, or Houston. I was like, those are three markets that I used to have arena football, but they don't anymore. And I think
Right.
those markets have grown. So he tried Houston, and it wouldn't work because it was too expensive. So then the next
Right.
neighboring town, kind of in the area, Beaumont.
Okay.
So he chose Beaumont, and that's when he called me. He was like, "I got a team in Beaumont, man. I want you to come play. Let's get this ring one last time and everything." And at first, I told him no.
Really? Okay.
I told him no. He called me. I think it was August last year, and I told him no because I was so satisfied with being retired and living the rest of my life was fine and everything. And then
Right.
Uh, something in November. I think it was either November or December. Just football just kept popping up in my head. It just kept popping up, and then I always stay in the gym. I'm a trainer as well,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
I'm always in shape. So I think I was in the gym one time, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I'm just like, I think you still could do it and
I still
everything. Just
got it.
let's
Yeah.
see, if you give it a shot. So I called Sam. I told him. And I was still on the fence though. But I told him, I said, I'll come. I'll see what I can do. I'll come and
Yeah.
camp and everything. So I was still on the fence to the point I didn't even come the first 5 days of camp because I was so still on the fence, like, should I go? Should I go? But talked
Right.
to my family, prayed about it, and literally everybody was like, just go. Just go, have fun, see what it's a new team. they need a player like you. They need
Yeah.
some of that guidance and everything, how to guide this ship the right way. And I was like, you know what, I'll take on that role.
Yeah.
So once I got down there, as soon as I got down there, they appointed me captain and leader. So I took on that responsibility with honor. So this season, it was for me. I would say it's not more so a challenge, but um, I'll say it was a journey. It was a real journey
Right.
because there's a bunch of young guys. A lot of guys never even played, not just arena. No, a lot of guys never played high level arena. They've played
Mm.
arena, but they never played high level arena. Whereas you got to be a pro every day,
Yeah.
and it can be exposed and stuff like that in practice. It gets exposed in games, even off the field stuff. If you don't do that stuff right, you, they'll go find someone else and
Yeah.
everything.
Right. Yeah.
So um, it was a learning curve for me how to teach these young players and stuff how to be pros. But they grasped on, got to it towards the middle of the season, and it was easier for me and everything from the rest of the season just to manage everything now. But at first, yeah, it was things all over the place. Like things
Yeah.
all over the place.
Yeah.
But
From the very beginning of the season, it seemed like things were changing, and every
mhm,
other week it was like, hey, you're playing in 2 weeks. Just kidding, you're not. And suddenly you had a bye month, week two of
yeah,
the season. Like, what is what is happening?
it was crazy. Like we because when I first got down here, it was the with Amaretto, and it was
Yeah.
like it was up in the air if they were going to fold or not. So I'm like, okay. But then when they actually folded, I'm just like, okay, are we going to play another semi-pro team,
Right.
something like that? Or are we going to just take a month off? No. What we did was literally practice like we had games. And when I say practice, that whole month, we literally practiced in full pads.
Oof.
It wasn't like, oh, just because we got this month off. No, no, literally we practiced in full pads that whole entire month. But I'll say, to be honest, that's kind of like a cheat code
Right.
because even though we were hitting, banging against each other, but what it did was sharpen our iron more. It
Yeah.
just made us way better, like our offense way better, get the chemistry with them because going against our defense, we're like, okay, y'all got to show us. Since nobody else can show us right now. So
Right. Yeah.
y'all got to show us and everything. And then it was the same thing, vice versa. The offense was like, all right, we're going to show y'all, but y'all got to stop us. And really, we was having hard hitting practices and everything. But once it came time to play Omaha for the second game, we was so ready to hit someone else. Like it was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, it came easy to us. So yeah, for the rest of the season, we kept that same intensity and everything. And so this group of guys, I love it. They were, I say it, after every game, had a bunch of young, talented goons. Like, that's that's what this team was.
Yeah.
But they at the end we all gelled together very well. Like we were
Yeah.
doing all like when we were at the hotel and everything after practice, we all hanging out with each other. It's not like usually, the linemen hang out with the linemen or DBs hang out with DBs and stuff like.
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't like that at all. It was you'll see a DB hanging out with an offensive lineman all day. And then
That's great.
you'll see a quarterback hanging out with a D lineman. We chasing him all day and everything, but
Yeah.
we go out to eat together, go work out and everything, stuff like that. So we actually gelled together as a team and everything. And we
Right.
actually treat each other like brothers. So we all loved each other, treated our coaching staff like that, like they were like our fathers and stuff like that. So it was easy for us. Yeah.
Yeah, and that you could tell that chemistry was there. And I remember seeing clips like when you had that bye month, like week 3, week 4. There were clips being uploaded to the Beaumont Instagram of like, yeah, we're still practicing. And some of the clips, I was like, dang, this this is intense. Like
Yeah.
they're not just doing walkthroughs. Like
Mm-mm.
that's full speed collisions in there. So like
Yep.
this, once this team gets out of the pen, they are gonna let loose on
Let
somebody.
loose, yeah. Like it was just that whole month literally hitting all day against one another for
Yeah.
2 hours every day. And It's just once we played against Omar, I was just like, all right, let's fully lay on the line now and
Yeah,
everything. And
let's do it.
that's why that game went the way it did because we was just so ready just to ball out against someone else and everything. So
Right.
pretty good, yeah.
Did you know about arena football growing up, or was it something you learned about later in life through your friend?
So I've seen it growing up. I've always seen it on ESPN.
Yeah.
Back then they had the New Jersey Generals. They had a team in the Philadelphia Soul.
Hmm.
So I've always seen those teams on ESPN. I've always thought it was cool and everything.
Right.
So, and what's crazy about it at the college, because I didn't see it a lot when I was in college and then or high school much, and then when I got to the pros, what's funny about it, I went to my first arena football game. Guess what it was? Wasn't a regular arena football game.
Wasn't a regular arena football game.
Hmm.
I don't know. What was it?
The LFL, the Lingerie Football League. So
Oh no.
yeah, because so when I was playing with the Jaguars, across the parking lot from where the Jaguars play is where the Jacksonville Sharks play at.
Yeah.
But the Lingerie Football League had a Jacksonville team as well. So when we were one day after practice, the guy came up to us and was like, "Yeah, we got tickets for y'all to come to our Lingerie Football League game. It's right there and everything." So we was like, "Okay, bet, let's all
Yeah, let's
go."
go.
And when I went and watched that game, oh, I was locked in. This was real football. We was so hyped at that game and everything.
Yeah.
Mind you, I'm with people like Maurice Jones-Drew was there with us.
Yeah, yeah.
He's sitting there hyped, seeing girls getting hit and everything. He's hyped and stuff like that. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty cool and stuff. So that's when I was like, all right, arena football is really something intense and everything. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the stigma around arena football sometimes it's like it's not just a group of folks that got together and they're like, "Hey, let's play ball this Saturday." It's like, no,
Mhm.
there's legitimate athletes out there, and like
Exactly.
these aren't just like just like you talk about like old NBA players playing against plumbers and
Yeah, stuff like
plumbers
that.
and carpenters or whatever in their off time. It's like,
Yeah.
no, these guys played 4 years of
Right.
collegiate football. There are some dudes out there.
Like people don't realize the best kick returner in the NFL right now, Devontae Turpin, came
Hmm.
from arena football.
Yeah.
He played with the fighters and he played in the what was it, the FCF.
Yeah, the FCF, yeah.
So there's a lot of talent in arena
Yeah.
football. Yeah, people. Thing is, I think what it is that um, back then it was like for example, Kurt Warner.
Yeah.
So back then they had more publicity, more notoriety with the arena football. So play like a Kurt Warner could get seen more, stuff
Hmm.
like that. I think ever since it's died down after the recession, I think arena football can get to that level, get back
Right.
to that level. It's just that we need the publicity, need the media coverage, need different
Yeah.
things like that just to get people seen more. And then, like for instance, we had a lot of NFL scouts and UFL scouts were at our championship game,
Hmm.
but they came to another game as well. But that should used to back in arena times where I heard from all the coaches that have played arena back then, they said that used to be every game.
Yeah.
So I would like for it to eventually get back to that. I
For
mean,
sure.
because
Yeah.
it's a lot of talent. One of my guys, he plays for the Jets. He's an offensive tackle. Even in CFL, Justin Rankley is
Yeah.
balling.
Rank. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Different players come from arena football that are very good football players and everything.
Yeah.
I think we just need the publicity, just need the notoriety and the media coverage.
Yeah.
Once we get that,
100%.
I think these scouts will start coming in.
Yeah. Do you have a distinct welcome to arena football moment that sticks out to you from when you first started playing indoors?
Uh, distinct arena football moment.
Where you were like, "Oh, this ain't outdoor football anymore. Like we're I'm locked in the arena now." Like, was there a moment with the wall? Was there a moment
Oh,
with
well,
anything like that?
all right. I think my first time playing against Sioux Falls Storm,
Okay.
because we played against other teams before that, and it was easier. It was so easy to me.
Yeah.
But then when we played against, everybody kept saying, "Oh, this is the." At the time, they were like the 3 or 4 time champs,
Yeah.
and they got uniformed out. They got everything they need. Right? That's the top of the line, stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I'm like, okay, we'll see when we go up there. So we went up there and played up there. First off, when the fans it was almost sold out during warm-ups. I
Act
was like,
out.
oh, this is a little different atmosphere. I
Yeah.
was like, okay. And then we came out, it was super packed. I just saw how like they just even the entrance and they were introducing the players and stuff. I
Hmm.
was like, all right, feels like a NFL atmosphere and everything. It was okay.
Right.
Then it was time to play. Yeah, then I played against a player named Mania. He's actually the offensive line coach for Billings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mania played this. He played, I think, 8 or 9 years, and he's never given up a sack.
Oh man.
So mind you, I heard that before the game, so I'm like, man, let me try and see how I can break this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I almost got a sack, but just the way how he was blocking and just how massive he was and everything. Yeah, it still would take about 2 to 3 seconds to get around him and
Yeah.
everything. And the quarterback, in arena football, getting the ball off in 1.5 seconds, easy.
Yeah. 3 seconds of
So
eternity. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So with him, it was just like I was like, oh, he's a real baller. I was
Yeah.
like, I was like, oh, I played against all these other tackles. I was whooping on them. I played against him. I'm like, oh yeah, they got
It's
some ball
different.
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that I'll probably say that was the waking moment. Like, all right, I gotta sharpen, keep getting better every day.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Right.
yeah, can't get complacent with this sport. Yeah, no,
Yeah. It's like that. They're professionals too.
yeah,
They know what they're doing.
exactly. That's what made me realize. No, there's no lacking. Every day,
Yeah.
gotta do something, get better. Yeah.
So I wanted to touch on your time with the Pirates. You were there for quite a while, and you see, oftentimes you see players like changing teams every other year, or sometimes multiple teams a year. But you were there for, you mentioned the 4 years, 3 seasons. What led you to signing with them and wanting to become a part of a brand new franchise, like similar to honestly what you did this past season?
So, with the Pirates, the first year was 2018.
Hmm.
I was before I signed there. I had probably every IFL team, every NAL team, a bunch of AFL teams at the time had offered me contracts. So once we had folded in Spokane, my coach was Adam Shackelford.
Okay.
And yeah, and I went to me and him. I called him. I was like, "Look, I got all these contracts. I don't know who should I sign with." So he invited me over to his house and everything. It's when I was still living in Spokane. We had sat down, had dinner, and he broke down to me saying his top three, which ones he think would take care of me more from what he sees in the contracts and stuff. So he saw that Massachusetts was at the time was the best option and everything. So I decided to sign with them, and plus I'm a Boston sports fan.
Okay.
So I'm a Patriots, Celtics, Red Sox fan.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, well, let me try to go up there and play in my sports town and everything.
Yeah. Right.
So once I had signed there, well, me and my father, we drove up to Massachusetts to sign a contract and everything.
Okay.
And once we got up there, Jawad and his family, they welcomed us in. Like they treated us well. They took us out to eat. They treated us like family and everything. So by the time when the season started, it was the same exact thing. Usually going through college and everything, you know how college coaches would try to butter you up, get you
Hmm.
coming to school. Once you get to the
Yeah.
school, that coach is not the same coach at
Yeah.
all.
No. No. No.
And it's like that sometimes in the pros too. Some teams and coaches and stuff like that, they'll butter you up. Once you get there, It's a totally different monster. They treat you totally different. They only speak to you, stuff like that.
Yeah.
With them, it wasn't no change at all. Once the season started, it was like they treated everybody like family. And they even treated my family like family once they came up to the games, whether it would be my mother, my brother, uh, my cousins, different things like that. Every time someone came up, they treated them like royalty and stuff like that. So to me, that's what made me be like, all right, I'm gonna stick around a little bit longer and everything. I don't mind balling out for an organization like that.
Yeah.
So while I was up there, the first 2 years I was first team all league, and then the year we won the championship, I was second team all league.
Mm.
So it was kind of easy for them to sign me back because I was I was
Yeah.
balling and stuff like that. And then I started developing a love for Massachusetts. And I still love Massachusetts to this day.
Yeah.
And they saw that the fans loved me, the community loved me, um, everybody. So it was easy to stay up there in Massachusetts. Even during the pandemic, I stayed in Massachusetts.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, you made it very easy. You made it a very easy decision for both parties to be like, yeah, we'll run it back. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
go ahead. We'll go ahead and do it again.
Yeah. So it's super easy. And plus, I had promised Jawad, so this was before the first season. It was because I went up about a week before camp started.
Mhm.
It was me and Marty Gilliard. So we were hanging around the office and different helping basically build the program just like we did with Beaumont, doing the
Yeah.
same kind of thing, helping them out and everything. So one day, Jawad, it was like 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning type thing. And he had a long day. Like he was super drained and tired. So I went to the store, came back, I saw him sitting outside, just he was tired. So, and I was sitting there talking to him and everything, and I told him it's gonna be worth it eventually. And I told him I'll stay here as long as you keep me here till we win the championship.
Right.
And he was like, okay, and everything. And then 3 years later, won the
Sure
championship.
enough. Yeah.
So the journey with Massachusetts, to be honest, I'll say it helped shape my football career because FITA started from there. I met a lot of other people who were in that. I'm still cool friends with them to this day. I still go back to Massachusetts when there's other people outside of the Pirates. I treat like family. They treat me like family, different things like that. So
Right.
Massachusetts have a special place in my heart for my career.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I mentioned, it's you spent a large portion of your pro career there, so it makes sense. You still have those connections.
Yeah.
This question is actually from Mass Pirates Nation on Instagram. Very cool account that shows a lot of love to Mass
Mhm.
Pirates, both past and present.
Shout out
He
to Empire's Nation.
Yeah, he's the man. I love that guy. He said, laying the foundation like you were able to do, how hard was it to leave after being there from the start, going through the pandemic, ultimately winning that championship season, and then leaving over to go to Frisco?
It was tough, to be honest. I mean, it
Yeah.
was really tough because my family, we was all so ready to come back to Massachusetts. We were so locked in
Yeah.
and everything. I just think at the time I was ready for something new.
Hmm.
And also I like the state of Texas. So when we came down here, actually was crazy about it. We came down here and played Frisco Fighters the championship year.
Hmm.
And I actually got ejected from that game.
Oh,
Charles Williams, he put a little trick stunt, and got me 2 personal fouls and everything.
mm,
So I got ejected from that game. But while I was here in Dallas, I actually liked it. I fell in love with it and everything. So after that championship season, I was sitting there just like, I accomplished my mission, my goal here in Massachusetts. But now it's time for me to start settling down somewhere for my retirement
yeah,
and
yeah,
everything. And I just fell in love with Texas, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, let me just sign with the Frisco Fighters and everything.
for sure.
And yeah, it was tough though because literally everybody, my friends, family, everybody was so ready to go back up to Massachusetts. They was so ready to come to the games and everything.
Yeah,
They heard I signed down here. It was like well, how are we gonna go to the games now?
Yeah.
Like we gotta
Yeah.
fly all the time just to come see you and everything. So
Hmm.
yeah, it was big difference, but yeah, it was a tough decision to make, but
Yeah.
ultimately made it because I have children as well. So
Yeah.
I want to get a nice, huge house for them and everything, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Texas is the place to be for that. So
Yeah. And you're still there now. So it's
yeah,
not like you regretted it. Like you're still
no,
there and you're still loving
yeah,
it.
still loving it. Yeah,
Yeah.
love it out here.
So what are some things you learned from your time with the Pirates, helping build that foundation like you touched on that you were able to apply this year with Beaumont? Was there anything in particular where you were like,
Yeah.
all right, we can skip steps 1 through 3 because I know what we need to do to get to step 4? Or what was that like?
A few things. So like when it came to even just outside of football stuff, sponsorship stuff like that, or
Hmm.
even food, trying to get food sponsorship. Understood it's not just the front office job to do that. It's not just the coaches, it's not the president, marketing person, not just their job. The best marketing people on the team are the athletes.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you could sit there and literally go to a restaurant that you like to eat all the time and everything, you know the food's good, just go up to them, talk to them, tell them that you're a professional athlete. Literally, I taught some of my teammates that this year, and because we had a few sponsorships, but towards the end of the season, we started getting more and more people that
Hmm.
wanted sponsors for next season because some of the players decided to go up to them and actually talk and ask them.
That's
And a
awesome.
lot of our players became pros. I told them, I was like, this is how you become a pro because it's not just going to help you when it becomes just for football. Once you're done with football, now you go into business this way. You know how to negotiate now. You know how to
Yeah.
talk, everything, market yourself. So it helped them out. Now they feel like they're all entrepreneurs and stuff and
Yeah.
everything. But the thing I learned from Massachusetts was basically
Yeah.
be a pro. Learn how to be a pro outside of football. Learn how to monetize yourself. Learn how to turn yourself into a brand and
Yeah.
everything. Understand you are a brand. So learn how to let others make you great by monetizing yourself as a brand and everything.
Yeah.
So Massachusetts, that's one thing. Massachusetts, they gave us that freedom to actually be businessmen
Hmm.
and everything. So yeah, I learned that from Massachusetts. And also when it came to football side, um, the championship thing, when we won the championship, I realized that we just have to play amongst ourselves and not care too much what others are doing, meaning
Right.
and included on our team. Because when you see another player, you think in your head that he might not be as talented as you. You're gonna start doing his job. You're doing less of your job now,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's not how you win. And then also the other mentality of, oh, I gotta try to get as many stats as possible. I was like, my nickname Sack King. I have it tatted on.
Yeah.
Uh, and I got it tatted on me in 2000. I want to say 18.
Hmm.
So around that time, like the year before that, like I said, I led the league in sacks. NAL, I think I was that year, 2018, I was second in sacks. The next year, I was second or third in sacks. But I realized by me trying to go for so many sacks and everything, that doesn't mean it accumulates to you winning championships.
Hmm.
But I prefer to rather play great defense and help the team out as much as possible and maximize my position on the team and everything, and
Right.
not try to overcompensate in with just getting sacks and everything.
Hmm.
And once I started realizing I could do that, just play my role to the maximum of everything and to win a championship.
Yeah.
And I think others started adopting that too. Let me play my role 100% to the max, to the point I don't even if I don't get an interception the whole season. But by me being in my right position and everything, it made the quarterback overthrow all the time.
Hmm.
And that helps out the team
Yeah.
and stuff. So little stuff like that, um, I started bringing it towards the team here. I was like, Instead of being at practice, us going against each other, competing that hard against each other and everything, let's help each other out.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
if a person catches or you stop the ball or something as a DB and everything, but you seen a receiver ran a route kind of slow or he ran it wrong, teach him.
yeah.
Because now
Tell
when
him.
we get
Yeah,
to the game and everything, he's going to do it right against another team, and we all win at the end of the day.
right.
So different stuff like that on the football field, I adopted from Massachusetts, brought it to Beaumont,
That's great.
and yeah, and the chemistry was great. That's why we won the championship this year.
Yeah, exactly. It clearly worked.
Yeah, it
And
worked.
you being that veteran voice, helping guide some of the younger players, get them acclimated to the game, obviously was a tremendous help this year. But you were coached by Corey Mayfield this year, who a lot of folks may not realize he had quite the arena
Goat.
football career himself.
He's the goat.
Yeah,
Oh, there we go. Yeah,
he was like you go back watch some old Corey Mayfield tape. He was a demon out there.
that's why.
He was a bully.
That's
And
why he
so
won Coach of the Year.
yeah, so what were some things that you were able to learn from him? Kind of flipping that role of you're used to being the veteran voice. What did you learn from him?
To be honest, with Coach Mayfield this year, it was more so like the football stuff. He knew I was a vet, so he kind of allowed me to just do what I do and everything. And he saw that I knew the game and everything. But
Right.
from what I learned from Coach Mayfield, football wise, was that basically to always be persistent and to fight. Like literally, that's one thing he said. He said, I forgot what coach he had told him this, but he said that football, if you don't fight in football, you will never win.
Hmm.
You will never win because you have to fight. He said not just fighting like fist to fist fight,
Yeah.
but you gotta fight through every play. If you don't, then you don't one play. The next play you try to, you don't. Next play you try to, you don't. That's three plays you just failed.
Yeah.
That's three plays that get to determine the whole entire game. So you got to fight and everything. So that's one thing I learned from him when it came to football wise. Outside of that, he's a kingdom man. He's a really godly man and
Hmm.
everything. And that presence from him, just from the head and everything, every day we prayed.
Yeah.
Every single day we prayed. And it wasn't like, oh, let's just pray and everything. No, we're not leaving this field until we pray. That's just how it was, and that was the culture for us.
Nice.
So everybody adopted it. The fans adopted it, and it all started from him. He literally, from the beginning of the season, said, "Nah, every day we're going to pray. We're all going to be kingdom men." And literally, as you see this whole season, we had a lot of ups and downs, but
Yeah.
God helped us out. God
Yeah.
helped us out big time.
Yeah.
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 So
You had the big man in your corner for a handful of these games because
yes,
I
yes.
got to be honest. Was it like a requirement that every Beaumont game had to be a thriller this year? Because it certainly seemed like it, where it was like, here we go again. Final minute. It's
it
coming
got
down to the wire.
it got to the point where we were like, oh, I mean, we've done this already, so
Yeah, exactly.
let's just ball out. Like, because other teams I've been on, yeah, I've been nervous. Like, because I
Yeah.
know how arena football is. You can score 16 to 20 points in a minute.
Yeah. Easy.
So this team, I'm like, a lot of them young. I don't know if they mentally strong yet. That's how I
Yeah.
was in the beginning of the season. I'm like, I don't know if they mentally strong, knowing that we could really win this game no matter how much time is left.
Yeah. Yeah.
So literally, they believed it,
Yeah.
and as you see, like especially the first 4 or 5 games is all nail biters. I'm just like,
Yeah.
man, y'all stress. I'm like, y'all stressing me out. I'm like,
Yeah.
y'all gonna give me gray hairs before. 'Cause I'm
Yeah.
like, wow. But to be honest, I wouldn't want it no other way.
Right.
Because if
Yeah.
you think about it, like by us winning that many games like that and winning the championship, it's a story, great story.
Oh, yeah.
Like think about it, if that was a movie and everything. Oh, every game was a was a
That's what
was a
it felt
great
like.
episode. If this was All American, the TV show,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, every episode was a great episode.
Yeah, I was just like, man, there was like three, like you said, 3 or 4 weeks in a row where I was like, this could be the game of the year.
Yeah.
Like it just came down to the wire. Is besides the championship game, is there a moment or a game that kind of stands out to you from the season where you're like, I can't believe that just happened?
Um, I'll probably say, whereas it was a nail biter.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, willing,
Okay.
willing, because Cam Pruitt had caught the end game winning interception.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
That was a big one. And I want to say Josh Neal. When Josh Neal, I think it was against Columbus, I think,
Yeah.
and he caught the game in catching the back in the end zone and
With no
everything.
time left.
No time left. That because
Yeah.
I was sitting watching it from afar and everything, and I didn't see Josh in the back of the end zone. So when
Hmm.
Carl threw it, I'm like, no, I'm like,
What is
oh,
happening?
Josh caught it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that was probably the two big nail biter moments to me that I think that defined our season. To be honest,
Yeah.
yeah, those two, Josh being a young rookie, showing like I don't care, I'm a rookie. I'm show y'all I got heart to the end in the game. Can't prove it. I think that was his second or third game with us and everything, and he won Defensive Player of the Week that week.
Yeah.
Had two interceptions and a fumble. So players like that, I was proud to play with because we showed heart
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and we fought. So to me, it was so easy to play with them. Yeah.
Right. Well, it obviously made you guys tough as nails for the end of the season where you're like, okay, well, we got this. No matter what the
Yeah.
situation gave you. You're like, yeah, we're good.
Exactly.
We're
Yeah.
good.
That's why everybody at first was like, oh, y'all got Omaha and they got Tommy and everything. He's never lost and stuff like that. I was like,
Okay.
oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's like,
He's never
it's
beat
just
us.
another team, another challenge we got to play.
Yeah, right.
And we did well with it. So, yeah.
So I'm very, very interested to learn more about FITA, Field Indoor
Okay.
Training Apparel, the brand that you started. Tell us a little bit about what that is and how you got started with that. Like what was the inspiration there?
Okay. So, me and Sam Gordon, he was at one point business partner of mine, well, manager.
Yeah.
And I came to him one time because I wanted to start up an arena football shoe.
Hmm.
They already have turf shoes and stuff like that, but I wanted to actually have our own type of shoe. So um, I was in Massachusetts, and in Massachusetts, um, New Balance. New Balance headquarters is in Massachusetts. So
Okay.
at first we were thinking, all right, let's go to New Balance, and then Converse is also up there as well. So we're thinking, let's go to these two brands. They're two brands that want to get into football,
Right.
want to get into different stuff. Then they were growing. So we was like, okay, let's try those two. But then we had a meeting about it, and literally Sam was like, well, how about we start up our own and everything? I was like, how? Well,
Yeah, where do
how
you
can we do
begin?
that? Yeah, we could begin. But all right, so years ago, my younger brother, he had a clothing line.
Okay.
And we used to, and like I said, I grew up in New Jersey, right across the river from New York City. So New York City is the fashion capital of the world. So
Right.
there you could go find any product, any inventory that you need when it comes to clothing. So I was like, well, I'm sure we could find a shoe manufacturer somewhere. So I looked up online real quick, and then what popped up was a few different factories overseas. So I was just like, okay, I was looking at different products and everything, and I had a few samples shipped in. So I don't know if you know Sean Brackett.
Yep.
You
Yep.
see,
Former
Sean
quarterback.
Brackett.
Yeah.
Yep. Me, Sean Brackett, and Marty Gilliard, we went and did like a field test with a few of the shoes and everything. So since Sean's a quarterback, trying to see if he could drop back, move and stuff. Marty's speed receiver, see if he could run
Right.
fast. Me playing defensive line, I was trying to see if I could cut off, do different moves with the different shoes and stuff like that. And one stood out of I think I had about 7 different styles.
Okay.
One stood out, and but it's not the actual style that we have now. It's the bottom of it stood out
Right.
better. So um, literally, we decided, you know what? Let's just try to invest to our own thing. let's just go in order. I think our first order was 5,000 shoes.
Wow.
And yeah, so we did it in 2021, started the brand. But what happened was our shipment had gone through China. What happened was in China, at one of the major ports, so the cranes that the different cranes that pick up the shipping containers off the ships.
Yeah.
Basically, a ship crashed into one of the cranes.
Oh no.
So they said over 200 ships were docked for 2 months.
Oh.
So that was when I don't know if you remember at one point they were saying that a lot of restaurants were closing down in 2021 because they didn't have products.
Mm-hmm.
That's because most of their products were on the ships,
Oh wow. Okay.
including our shoes. So we wanted to have the shoes before the 2021 season. We didn't. We didn't get the shoes in until right before the playoffs of the 2021 season.
Okay.
So what we did was just marketed with the Pirates at the time. And that was the year we won the championship. So the whole playoffs, our team was wearing the shoes, and everybody started realizing everybody got the same shoes on. They're like, well, what brand is this?
Yeah.
And that's when we decided to know it. Let's just market across the whole league. So yeah.
So it's a bit of a like Mike situation where like the shoes powered y'all up a little bit. That's what you're
Yeah.
saying for the
In,
championship?
in a way. Yeah. And look, I tell people all the time, look, Justin Rankin is an athlete of ours. He wore our
Yeah.
shoes for 2 seasons straight. He's in the CFL.
Mm-hmm.
We had Santos Ramirez. He wore our shoes for 2 seasons straight. All league in the UFL. Toby
Yeah.
Johnson still wears our shoes to this day. He works out in our shoes. All league in the UFL. What's the name? Then the two teams, Massachusetts Pirates. We won the championship wearing my shoes. Beaumont Renegades. Carl Robinson III,
Yep.
MVP, wore our shoes. Jerry Davis wore our shoes. Literally, the
Yeah.
whole defense wore our shoes. So, and we won the championship.
Right.
So, the thing is, what people love about our shoes is that they're light. They're very
Mm-hmm.
light, but the bottom grip, the way that the basically the rubber is on the bottom, it's not flat, whereas it's not gonna be slippery, but it has little nubs on it where it'll grip to any turf.
Okay.
And what's crazy about it, the commissioner from the IFL, Todd Tryon,
Mm-hmm.
so I sent him a care package years ago for his son. His son played high school football. His son wore him in the state championship and ran a kick return back in a real football game now. It
Yeah.
was outdoor. So that's why I try to tell everybody. I was like, our shoes, I made them to wear that and designed it so that you could wear it outdoor, could wear it indoor. You could go work out and train in them. You can do anything you want with, as long as you're on a good turf, it's going to grip. You're going to feel light. You can move around in it.
Yeah.
And you can wear them around too as well. So a lot of people love our shoes. Yeah.
That's
So,
that's awesome.
yeah. But the next phase, so I can't announce it yet.
Okay.
But we're working with a known apparel company to partner with them. And
Okay, let's go.
yeah, so kind of they're going to be like how Nike was with Jordan. They'll be the Nike, we'll be the Jordan. So
Okay.
yeah, they actually the deal's done. We just haven't announced it yet. Announced the
I got
partnership,
you.
but yeah, they're basically going to help us with the indoor football game, with arena football game, and also baseball and college athletics as well. So
All right, let's go.
yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's the next phase for the brand, and not just football cleats. We're going into, like I said, baseball cleats, and we're in the process. This one is going to be hard, but we're in the process right now of probably having a basketball shoe as well.
Wow. Okay. So you're going in a bunch of different directions at once now. So you're about to
Yeah.
pop off.
Yeah, and the other side of the brand is also with fitness as well.
Okay.
So we're also creating compression shorts, compression shirts, different things for fitness gear for people to go work out in and everything.
Let's go.
So yeah, so that's what comes with the partnership that we got.
That's great. Yeah, it's awesome to see like an initiative like this where it's player driven and
Yeah.
the proof is there. Where it's like, look,
Yeah.
these guys are wearing it. They're crushing.
Exactly.
What are you waiting for?
So I'm gonna try to tell everybody. I was like, once you put them on, you're gonna
Yep.
see exactly why
Yeah.
everybody loves them. Yeah.
That's great. Well, this has been awesome, JD. I really appreciate you hopping on here. We're gonna link your socials below and the
Okay.
FITA socials as well. So everyone go
Okay.
follow. It sounds like the announcement is coming sooner rather than later
Yes,
for the
it's coming
FITA.
very soon.
So make sure you're locked in there. Final questions we got here. What's next for JD Griggs? Are we running it back in 2026 with Beaumont? Are we shifting the focus to FITA a little bit more? What do we got?
So we're shifting the focus more towards FITA, and but the decision to play or not, or even coach, I usually don't make that decision till about the end of November, December.
Okay.
So we'll see how my body feels with that. But as of right now, we're shifting the focus straight to FITA, and with the next partnership, and see possibly, hopefully, having a store soon. So
All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Let's
So
go.
that's the next focus for me. Yeah.
Let's go. Well, it sounds like things are on the up and up, and it's really awesome to see. So, congrats on an awesome championship run this year and a hell of a career
Thank
so
you.
far.
Thank you.
Thanks again for your time, and have a great off season. And we'll be in touch soon. Okay.
Appreciate you, man. Thank
All
you. And
right.
thank y'all for everything for the whole season. Y'all lit and everything. Trust me, my whole team, we love y'all and
Yeah.
everything. So yeah, appreciate y'all.
I try to show love where it's due. So, all
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
right. We'll see you around. Big thanks again to JD Griggs for joining the show this week and talking shop about his journey, talking shop about what potentially lies ahead for him, his footwear and apparel brand, which is again linked below in the description. So make sure you're following not just JD but his apparel and footwear brand as well. Excited to see where that goes, and it's really cool to see like a player-driven initiative like that really gain some momentum and really start to pop up. You heard some of the names that he mentioned that have worn the apparel, and there's some pretty big names that have had success in the footwear. So I'm excited to see what happens with him moving forward. So we're going to dive into the AF1 first. We had two AF1 playoff games this weekend. The first one was between the Albany Firebirds and the Salina Liberty in Albany, New York, and Albany won this game 75-44. So this was a pure domination by the Albany Firebirds. Albany got off to a really good start, and Salina did too. But the difference is Albany never let off the gas and they just kept going. Salina had some hiccups and slip ups along the way, and Albany was just able to pull away. And I think at one point in the second half, it was like 62-31 or something. Like they doubled them up, I think, early in the fourth quarter. And yeah, Albany was in the driver's seat this entire time behind a performance of quarterback Sam Castronova, who's going to be the future MVP of this league. It's just a matter of when, not if, at this point. He had 303 passing yards and 8 passing touchdowns. Then he went ahead and added 2 more on the ground as well. So he had 10 total touchdowns on the day. Just an absurd performance and just an absurd game overall. Dwayne Brown had a really solid game, 8 catches, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns. Multiple players had 2 touchdown performances in this one. Markel Wade, Dwayne Brown, Isaiah Scott, and Darian Townsend. If you played wide receiver for the Firebirds in this game, you had a pretty good day. You had fun playing some foosball out there. They got the big man involved a couple times as well. They didn't get a big man touchdown, but we can't be picky, can't be choosy. And on defense, they played really, really well. They had a couple of interceptions. Marcus Smith did. He returned one of them for a touchdown. The defensive line was able to get some penetration, and Ezekiel Rose had 2 sacks. Drew Singleton had 2 sacks. DJ Walden had a sack. Jamal Hickbottom had a sack. They were just feasting all day, and this was without Harold Love, who was serving a suspension from from the hits he put on poor Manny, hashtag justice for Manny, in the last week of the regular season. So Albany will be hosting the Arena Crown. That's what the AF1 Championship is called, the Arena Crown, in Albany next Saturday, or this Saturday, I should say, this Saturday at 1 p.m. So 1 p.m. kickoff, which is interesting. But Albany absolutely dominated this game, and they've been in the driver's seat ever since the season started here. They got tested a few times, primarily from Salina when they met the second time in the regular season. But Albany has just been the class of the AF1 from the very beginning of the season, and they continue to do so in the playoffs. But for Salina, it wasn't all bad. Like I said, they started off pretty strong. They were keeping up with them in the first quarter, but then Uh, it just kind of fell apart. Javon Kilgo had 4 touchdowns on the day, 322 passing yards, which is incredible, but he also had 2 interceptions and a couple drives just fizzled out. And you need to go band for band with Albany every single time you play them. If you're not going to be able to get stops, you're going to have to keep up with them. And it was just a bad combination of Salina coughed up the ball a handful of times. Albany just showed no signs of stopping, and that's not a good combo. But big shout out to friend of the program, Malik Honeycutt. He had an incredible day. 15 catches, 199 yards, and 3 touchdowns, just capping off an unbelievable season that he had this year. And he was a major reason why the Salina offense was able to click and able to really take the next step. He signed on a couple weeks into, or maybe a couple weeks, maybe like 2, 3 weeks into the season after the whole Orlando situation went down. And as soon as Raheem Cato got in the mix, he was able to feed Malik Honeycutt, and he was able to really feast. And I fully expect him to be an all AF1 wide receiver when those come out. The defense for Salina, they were doing their best. They were able to force Sam Cashinova out of the pocket and try to force something, but Cashinova is just so good at improv and rolling out, and the play right before halftime, which kind of sealed the deal for this game. Truthfully, um, Albany had the ball on, I want to say it was around the 8 or 9 yard line, maybe the 10. And Salina was able to force Cashinova out of the pocket. He rolled right, ended up tossing it to the back left corner, and he just threaded the needle and scored. They threw a perfect touchdown pass with no time left in the first half. And it was just demoralizing for Salina. But overall, a really strong finish to the season for Salina after starting 0-4. I think they might start 0-5. I think they started 0-4 and just went on a tear to end the season. It just makes you wonder if they could have had Cato from the beginning, how things would have shaped up a little bit differently. Maybe these two teams are meeting in the championship game instead of the first round of the playoffs. Who knows? But yeah, Salina really strong finish to the season. Not so much of a strong start to the season, and it was good to at least see Salina make some adjustments along the way and not totally fizzle out like it was looking like they were going to over the first month and a half of the season. But the second game that we're going to talk about took place in Clarksville, Tennessee, where the Nashville Cats hosted the Southwest Kansas Storm, and Nashville won this game 48-43. So Nashville is going back to Albany for Arena Crown and going to try to get the first ever AF1 championship. Tyler Kolka had a really good game in this one. He was very efficient. He was keeping that offense flowing and going. Went 18 for 21 for 250 yards and 5 passing touchdowns. Calvin Vance had 2 rushing touchdowns on the ground. They were able to run the ball semi well on the ground in this one. They get A for effort. They get A for effort, but they got the short yardage in the situations that they needed it, and they were able to play some really good situational football. And uh, what, second and goal on the 3 yard line, they needed 3 yards. They got 3 yards. It was those types of situations where they were really able to cash in. But Colga did a really good job of spreading the ball around between his wide receivers, Antoine Grant, Jordan Gandy, and Niger Jackson, each hauling in touchdown passes, but Jackson by far had the best day. 6 catches, 131 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He was really able to stretch the field really well for this in this game. And this Nashville offense was pretty impactful and pretty efficient. It was a little bit slow to get started, but once they got going, they got going, and they were pretty impressive. So Nashville had a pretty good game against Albany. The wheels just kind of fell off on special teams in the beginning of the second half when they played in Albany, and they played Albany pretty close when Albany went to Nashville earlier this year too. So if you're looking at matchups, this was probably the best matchup in terms of threatening Albany in the championship game and being the biggest threat to Albany. So it seems like Nashville is getting healthy at the right time, and the defense is probably the best matchup, like I said, for what Albany brings to the table, and it should be a really good game between Nashville and Albany. But for Southwest Kansas, They had a really slow start in this one. Jalen Morton had some trouble getting going. Excuse me. But he had a pretty strong finish to the game. He ended up with 296 passing yards and 6 touchdowns on the day. They really didn't run the ball a ton. Jalen Morton had a scramble that resulted in 20 plus yards at one point, but there wasn't the typical rushing attack that you see from the Southwest Kansas Storm in this one. And I don't know if it was by design or they were just playing catch up the whole time. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but Demarius Washington had a strong day, 8 catches, 119 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And he was very vocal with the crowd. He was trolling the crowd. The crowd was trolling him. He got a non-sportsmanlike at one point due to some of his antics. So I get it. Be fun and entertaining, but when you're in a playoff game and you're down double digits and you score a touchdown to cut into the lead, and then you go and basically taunt the opposing coach and get a 15-yard penalty from a veteran of the game like Demarius, it's not something you typically want to see, and it's it's a little rough. Like I don't know. You would expect that from a first or second year player, not from a player that's been around as long as he has. But Charles Hall the fourth had a really good game as well. 9 catches, 145 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So this passing game was flowing and going, but the rushing game just wasn't there, and that's where Southwest Kansas has been really lethal up to this point of the season, and they just couldn't really get things going until it was too late. And Southwest Kansas made it interesting towards the end, but Nashville was just able to drain the clock and really put this thing away. Southwest Kansas again had some clock management issues. They had to burn a couple timeouts on offense in the third into the third quarter, and those timeouts would have been handy at the end of the game. And this whole back half of the season just didn't go Southwest Kansas's way. Um, in a way, it's kind of reminiscent of how they've kind of played in some of these games towards the end of the year where they start off strong. They started off strong in this one. I think they were 7-2 at one point. They had a big lead, but dropped a couple games to end the season, and then dropped it at the end of the year in the first round of playoffs as well. And so we've seen that time and time again with Southwest Kansas over the last month of the season. They were up on Salina. Salina crept back in and stole the win. They're up on Salina again, crept back in, stole the win. Um, Disappointing into the season for Southwest Kansas, but overall a pretty successful one. For the majority of the season, they were the second best team in the AF1. It just didn't work out for them towards the end there. But optimistic to see what the coaching staff in Southwest Kansas is able to do. Gary Thomas is a great coach. Just got to work on some situational football and improving some of those things, and they'll be just fine. But yeah, Nashville and Albany is going to be the matchup in Arena Crown. Going to provide a little bit more commentary and some predictions on the socials. So make sure you're following us on there again at Off the Wall FB, F as in foot, B as in ball, across all socials, and we'll have some more conversation. And I want to hear what you think about the Arena Crown matchup between Nashville and Albany, and who you think is going to win. What do you think the over under is going to be? What do you think the line is? What's your pick? I want to hear it all. So come join the conversation. All right, flipping over to the IFL now. Week 14 is in the books, and we had an eventful week. A roller coaster of emotions across the board here, but we're going to start with the Tulsa Oilers going to the Massachusetts Pirates, and Massachusetts won this game 58-37. So Massachusetts is quietly, or not so quietly, depending on who you listen to and who you watch, put together a 4-game winning streak since that dreadful trip out to Arizona, and they are sneaking back into the playoff picture. And before you know it, they're back fighting for that 4 seed. And with how this game turned out, it's looking like they might be able to leapfrog potentially Tulsa to get into the playoffs here. And before we get to the sad part of the game, we'll talk about some of the successes of the Pirates. Kenji Bahar had a really solid game in this one. He went 14 for 18, 156 yards, and 4 passing touchdowns. He did what they needed him to do. They facilitated a lot. He was able to find Tio Redding on the deep ball a couple times and really open things up. And Puka Williams was able to do work both running the ball and catching the ball out of the backfield. And this was very reminiscent of Pirates offenses of the past few years. And this was something where I was like, okay, I think the Pirates will be okay. They might be good. I thought they were dead in the water early in the season, but The new OC that they got about 3, 4 weeks into the season is finally, or not finally, but really paying dividends right now. And Kenji Bahar is really turning the corner, and it's looking like he's gonna be the guy for the Pirates, and the Pirates could end up making some noise here on the back half of the season. And for the defensive side of the ball, they played really, really well. They had a couple guys with multiple TFLs, and they were able to really break up some passes and make life difficult for this Tulsa Oilers offense. And Tulsa really didn't do themselves many favors with, their approach to the game. Truthfully, felt like they were trying to force the run a ton, and um, felt like they should have put the ball in TJ Edwards' hands throwing the ball earlier in the game, while Massachusetts was able to just keep going and going. The Oilers' offense was in flux for a little bit. But for the Oilers, TJ Edwards did have a pretty good game in this one. 4 passing touchdowns, 161 yards, and a rushing touchdown as well. Couldn't really get anything going on the ground outside of TJ, which, with how this Tulsa Oilers offense has worked so far this season, that's when they're most successful, is when Hassan Rogers is able to get going on the ground. But in this game, Hassan Rogers and Martez Carter couldn't really do anything. They combined for 8 rushes for 8 yards. So barely a yard per carry between the two of them, and that's just not good enough. But at the end of the game, Oilers quarterback TJ Edwards went down with what looked to be a very bad leg injury, and it was a very, very gut-wrenching moment to see his teammates reacting to visibly seeing the injury. They were just heartbroken, and it was a bad one. He ended up getting stretchered off, and it took a little while for them to get going. Um, and yeah, DJ Edwards' season is definitely done. Hopefully, his career is not done. Like, it was pretty bad. You can go watch the replay on the IFL Network, but hopefully, we see TJ Edwards again. It's definitely not going to be this year. But yeah, it's such a bummer to see one of the most talented players in all the IFL, TJ Edwards, just go down like that, and it was a tough one. A lot of Tulsa fans I saw were saying it was a dirty hit by the lineman that ended up being the one to hurt Edwards. I don't think it was a dirty hit. The Tulsa O line kind of blocked him, push pulled him into TJ's legs. So I don't know. It was just a tough spot. It was a not a bang bang, but it's a football play that just didn't work out. And yeah, it's a bummer, but hopefully TJ gets well soon, and we'll be able to see him back on the field next season. But the next game we're going to talk about is the Fishers Freight taking on the Green Bay Blizzard. Green Bay came into this game as 13.5 point favorites, and Fishers won this game in arguably the game of the year, 57-56. So Fishers Freight was just having a dreadful season up to this point, losing 9 in a row. And they were just looking for answers. They were looking for anything. And it looks like they got it in quarterback Vincent Espinoza, who just came over from the Columbus Lions of the NAL. He had a really good back half of the season for the Columbus Lions. And Journey Sloan, wide receiver who was with the San Diego Strike Force earlier this year and Duke City last year, came over earlier this week as well, and signed with Fishers, and ended up being the one to catch the game-winning walk-off touchdown pass from Espinoza. And it was just an incredible game. 3 lead changes in the final 27 seconds of the game. And Fishers got a much needed win. And like I said, Vincent Espinoza came in and was really the difference maker for this team. He was able to get 3 rushing touchdowns on the ground with 50 yards on the ground, and then he was able to throw 2 passing touchdowns as well. So I liked what Carlos Davis was doing at quarterback, but Vincent Espinoza just gave a breath of fresh air to this team that they needed. They've needed very badly at the quarterback position, and I would not be surprised to see Vincent Espinoza at quarterback the rest of the way. But for Fishers, they had a pretty strong defensive performance in this one, despite giving up 56 points and 8 touchdowns to Max Mailer. But they were able to make some plays down the stretch that ended up being very influential in the game. They got a safety with a little more than a minute left. I think like less than 2 minutes in the game. They got a safety that ended up being a big difference in the game. Special teams was able to get a rouge, which ended up being a big difference in the game when it's a 1 point game. So Fishers had a pretty good game from all sides, and Hopefully they can build on what this offense was able to do in that fourth quarter and, stretch it out to an entire game. Because scoring 29 points in the fourth quarter is great. But when you're scoring more points in the fourth quarter than you are in the rest of the three quarters combined, figure out what you were doing in that fourth quarter that worked so well, and let's try doing that a few more times. So Fisher's, I think, finally is finding some answers, but might be too little, too late in this stacked Eastern Conference. They're sitting towards the bottom right now, and yeah, I'm glad they found Espinoza, but it just might be too little, too late for them. But as mentioned, Max Mailer for the Green Bay Blizzard, he had 8 total touchdowns on the day, 188 yards passing, 5 passing touchdowns, and then 3 touchdowns on the ground. Jalen Cagle had a pretty good day on the ground, 9 attempts for 42 yards. TJ Davis, backup quarterback and wide receiver phenom, apparently had 6 catches for 91 yards and 4 touchdowns as well. So this Green Bay offense is very potent. They've scored 70 plus 3 times this year. Max Mailer has got to be the front runner for the IFL MVP at this point. And the offense is not the problem for Green Bay. Right now, it's the defense. The defensive line, name wise, has the names that you want to see. They you hope to see them start making some big plays sooner than later. The secondary played pretty well, but got shredded in the very last dying moments of the game multiple times, especially on that Hail Mary that ended up being the deciding game where Journey Sloan went up and snagged the ball in double coverage. So you could argue triple coverage and came down with it. So Green Bay very easily should have won this game. And when you look at games that they've dropped this year, they dropped this one, last minute score. They dropped the game to Arizona, last minute score, last minute comeback. So Green Bay very well could be in the number one spot right now, but their defense has just been Swiss cheese at times and just not good enough, which is shocking considering the caliber of defense that Green Bay was last season in 2024. So Green Bay is still fine. Quad City, fortunately for Green Bay, lost as well, which we'll dive into in a sec. So they're still in that number 2 spot. They're still looking to get a home playoff game, and they're still very much in contention for the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. But Jacksonville has now joined the conversation, and the game between Green Bay and Quad City in a couple of weeks is going to be absolutely crucial and going to be very, very important for both teams in the entire Eastern Conference. But speaking of Quad City, we'll dive into that game next. Quad City went down to Duval County to face the Jacksonville Sharks, and Jacksonville just smacked Quad City 65-33. So Jacksonville, I was very impressed with Jacksonville in this one, specifically Tyler Huff. Tyler Huff was unbelievable at quarterback for the Sharks. In the preview, in the picks preview, I thought Quad City was gonna win this one, not big, but comfortably. And they needed a near perfect game at the quarterback position. Jacksonville did in order to win this game and find a way to really control this game. And there's not much more Tyler Huff could have done at the quarterback position. He ended up 10 of 11 for 73 yards and 3 passing touchdowns, but then 19 rushes for 188 yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. So he was averaging 10 yards a carry on the ground, 4 rushing touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns. Anything Tyler Huff was doing was working, and it was working really, really well. He was as efficient as it gets, and he should probably be the IFL Offensive Player of the Week. And defensively, they were able to get some stops and get some timely turnovers. Richie Coffey, just recently added, I think the week of the game, had a forced fumble and 2 fumble recoveries. Javaris Davis had an interception. And this defense was able to keep everything in front of them and not let this Quad City offense really manhandle them like Quad City's been able to do to other teams up to this point of the season. And this was just by far the best game that Jacksonville has played all year. Defensively, they played really, really well, and they've showed what they were for the first 4 games of the season. And I wasn't sure if Tyler Huff was going to be the answer for this Jacksonville offense after, cycling through a handful of names, including Caleb Barker, to get to this point. But Tyler Huff looks great. And if he can do even half of what he did in this game going forward, Jacksonville's going to be very, very good, and they're going to be more than fine. And they have a case and they have a path to that number one seed in the Eastern Conference. So this Jacksonville team is getting hot at the right time. Went through some growing pains over the past month and a half, 2 months, but it's looking like they're coming out on the other side of those growing pains and looking really good in the process. But for Quad City, this is the first game that Quad City lost with Daquan Neal as their starting quarterback. Up to this point, any game that Daquan Neal started, they won, and they won pretty comfortably by hitting the big passing play and then just grinding and ground and pounding every team in front of them. And they were just not able to do that against the Sharks this past week. Neal went 16 for 24, 188 yards and a passing touchdown. He also had an interception as well. And on the ground, he really wasn't able to do a ton yardage wise. Only 7 rushes for 22 yards. Did have 2 rushing touchdowns, but some of the situations that they found themselves in, they were turning the ball over far more often than you would like to see. And this was kind of a script flipped moment where when Jacksonville went to Quad City earlier this year, Quad City absolutely smacked Jacksonville around. Quad City goes to Jacksonville this past week. Jacksonville absolutely smacks them around. So they split the season series, and this is one where Quad City strengths were not their typical strengths through this point of the season were not their strengths in this game, and they were forced into being more of a pass first offense, and that's not where their strengths are. They can pass the ball if they need to, but their strengths are being able to grind teams down on the ground and then hitting them with the pass. But Jacksonville is just a buzzsaw on offense and would not be stopped. And it just seems like everything went Jacksonville's way in this one and very little went Quad City's way in this one. So I think Quad City will be fine if they can just continue to play their game and continue to play their style and their brand of ball. But yeah, this is a humbling wake up call for the Quad City Steamwheelers. All right, next we're going to start to make our way out west, where we got an interconference matchup, which is not something you see too often this late in the season. The Iowa Barnstormers went to Henderson, Nevada to face the Vegas Nighthawks, and Vegas won this game 82-46. So 82 points, which is uh, crazy to say the least. We'll start with Vegas here. Jaden DeLaura had an incredible game at quarterback for Vegas. He went 11 for 15, 163 yards and 5 passing touchdowns. He was just slinging, and he could hardly do any wrong in this one. He found Quentin Randolph for 3 passing touchdowns and 4 total catches, 67 yards, and he was able to distribute the ball pretty well between the different receivers that Vegas had. But the story of the game for the Vegas offense and the Vegas special teams was Antonio Wimbush. He had 5 total touchdowns on the day. He was able to return multiple kick returns for a touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns, a receiving touchdown. This was just anything that Wimbush could have done to score, he did in this game. And he was just absolutely dominant. He was the best player on the field for the entire game. You can argue best player on the field for the entire IFL on Saturday night. That's just how dominant he was in this one. 6 rushes for 65 yards, 4 catches for 35 yards, multiple kick returns, and he was just so explosive and so fast. And Vegas could do no wrong here. If Vegas didn't slow up in the fourth quarter and take their foot off the gas, they could have easily scored 100 in this one. I thought they were going to break 90 at one point. This Iowa defense is just horrid, just so bad, and yeah, Vegas was able to set a team record for points scored against this Iowa defense, and yeah, I think Vegas has the answer at quarterback with Jaden DeLaura as long as he can stay healthy. I think he's the guy moving forward. Jerome Johnson did come in relief when the game was pretty much in hand, and he was able to throw a touchdown pass himself. So I think it'll be curious to see if Jerome possibly gets a look elsewhere, with Vegas's quarterback situation being a little bit more ironed out, so to speak. Personally, I would love to see Jerome Johnson make his way over to Tulsa. Tulsa just losing TJ Edwards, not really having I don't want to say real quarterback because that's sounds bad, but they don't have a pure quarterback. Sauce Rogers is their backup quarterback, and he's been playing running back for the majority of the year in Tulsa. So Jerome Johnson in this Tulsa offense would be very, very interesting. I think that'd be something fun to look out for, and we'll see if it ends up coming to fruition. I think that could save Tulsa's season if that's a possibility. Vegas could very well just say no, he's ours, and we're gonna keep him just in case Delare gets hurt again. And more power to him. If you got Jerome Johnson as your alternate option, that's pretty dang good. But for Iowa, man, Iowa, this defense is on a historically bad pace. Like they were already statistically on a worse pace than San Antonio's defense was last year, and San Antonio's defense was bad, 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 bad. Not good. And Iowa's defense before this game was giving up 55 points a game. And they just gave up, take away the kick returns, they just gave up 70. So that number is going to go up. And this defense just cannot seem to get it done. And it's the offense. Quarterback James Calhoun had a pretty good game in this one, 303 yards, 5 passing touchdowns, but they literally passed the ball on every single play in this one. And towards the end of the game, Iowa receivers were going down with injuries. Both Jalen Bracey and Keon Williams went down with injuries with about a minute and a half left. And those are your two guys. Those are your two main guys. If you're Iowa, Jalen Bracey has been just unbelievable over the past month or so, especially the past two games. I think he has 20 catches for over 250 yards and I think 5 or 6 touchdowns over the past two games. And Keon Williams has just been unbelievable all year as well. And they both went down with injuries, and they look to be not ideal injuries, not just like a little stinger. Like they look to be rough ones. So this rough season for Iowa may end up getting a little bit rougher, depending on what the severity of those injuries looks like. But Jalen Bracey started off strong in this one, had 7 catches for 115 yards and 3 touchdowns, including a pair of touchdowns in the first 5 minutes of this game. So Iowa was up 14-7 at one point. They scored a minute and a half into the game, and it was looking like, okay, Iowa might do the thing. Like they might do it. They might finally have it together. But um, jokes on all of us. They've been leading us astray for this long, and foolish of me to think otherwise and to think that they would be any different than the rest of this season so far. But this Iowa defense is not good. This Iowa offense is pass, 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 no runs at all. And when they do run the ball, they run it 3 times for a total of -2 yards, which is just horrible. It's awful. Um, so yeah, Iowa continues to be a rough viewing experience, a great viewing experience if your team is playing Iowa, but Iowa's in a rough spot, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be getting better anytime soon. But continuing westward, we're going to go south a little bit, not westward. The Northern Arizona Wranglers faced the Tucson Sugar Skulls, and Tucson won this game 59-38. So Tucson was able to jump out to a very quick lead in this one through the midway point of the second quarter. Tucson was up 27-3. And Ramon Atkins did not get the start in this one. Caleb Lowe got the start, really could not get things going. So they ended up switching to Ramon Atkins for the Wranglers, and he was able to kind of get some things going and kind of make some things happen. He ended up going 161 yards and 5 passing touchdowns, while Caleb Lowe only went 5 for 10 passing, 21 yards and an interception. He just could not get anything going and put them in a hole very, very early. Northern Arizona couldn't really do much running the ball. They found themselves in a hole early and had to pass the entire time. They were able to throw 5 passing touchdowns to 4 different players in this one, but it was just too little too late, while Tucson did not let up, and they were able to really keep their foot on the gas on offense and keep scoring while Northern Arizona was doing their best to keep up. So Northern Arizona, again, we've talked about it every week. They have the potential to play spoiler, but this week they just got off to a bad start with Caleb Lowe at QB. And I don't know if it was just a gut feeling type of thing, if it was a, hey, the season's already in hand, let's give Caleb a shot. I don't know what it was, but Atkins is clearly the answer. But with the season working out the way it has so far, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if we continue to see Ramon Atkins. I don't know if we see Caleb Lowe get trotted out there again. Who knows? But for the Sugar Skulls, the offense played about as well as you would hope. Like they played really, really well, especially on the ground. They had 6 rushing touchdowns on the ground, 2 from Jameis Williams, 2 from Devontae Sapp-Lynch, and then 2 from Trip Harrington at the quarterback slash running back slash wide receiver slash offensive weapon position, aka the Rudy Johnson. And they were able to run the ball really, really well, 23 times total as a team for 109 yards and really keep things flowing. George Reyna at quarterback, 87 passing yards and a touchdown. Didn't have to do a ton passing the ball because the running game was working so well. So this Tucson Sugar Skulls team is keeping themselves alive, keeping themselves in the conversation for the playoffs. Though right now they're sitting in that 5 spot on the outside looking in at 5-6, while Vegas Nighthawks are at 7-5, and Arizona just dropped to 7-5 as well. So couple things go Tucson's way, and they could leapfrog somebody, whether it be Vegas, whether it be Arizona. I don't know. The end of the season is going to be very interesting to see. But Tucson is a scary team, and they're going to get if they're able to make the playoffs, they're going to give somebody a fright. And they gave Bay Area quite a fright earlier this year in Bay Area. So if Bay Area gets them in the first round of the playoffs, oh boy, oh boy, look out. Continuing out west to California, we had a pair of Sunday games in California. The Arizona Rattlers went to Bay Area to face the Bay Area Panthers, and Bay Area won this game 37-24. So a very low scoring affair in Bay Area between two offenses that have shown that they have the ability to let it loose and to get after it. And that just wasn't the case here. There was a very defensive battle in the first half. It was 10-10 at halftime, 0-0 at the end of the first quarter, and just something you don't typically see from both of these offenses. But both defenses were playing really, really well in this one. But Josh Jones at quarterback for the Bay Area Panthers did what he needed to do. Nothing too flashy, nothing too sexy, so to speak. He was able to rush the ball for a couple of touchdowns, as well as passing for one as well. And this Bay Area defense really kept the Rattlers in line in the second half of this game, or the entire game. Honestly, they were going blow for blow for a little bit there, but Arizona just ran out of gas, and Bay Area was able to pull ahead and stay ahead towards the end here, and they improved to 9-2 on the season, firmly in the lead of the Western Conference, and they're looking like the Western Conference is going to roll through Bay Area once again. And Arizona might be broken. Like they might be a broken team. They've lost 4 games in a row, which is absurd to think about, considering it's the Arizona Rattlers. They're a team that just doesn't happen. Dalton Sneed, that's a quarterback that just doesn't happen. So to see Dalton Sneed lose 4 games in a row, to see the Arizona Rattlers and Kevin Guy lose 4 games in a row is just puzzling. And the way they've gone about it and the way they've lost these games is just confusing. 24 points from the Rattlers in 4 quarters of football is just not something you typically see, and just very atypical from this offense so far this season. And they're sitting at 7-5 right now. They were in first place. They were in the driver's seat of their own destiny for the 1 seed, and they are no longer. That's no longer the case. If they continue to slide here, I would not be surprised to see them continue to drop, and we could be in a situation where maybe Tucson eventually jumps Arizona, unless Arizona is able to get their act together quickly. It's just like, man, what do we do? Like what do you do if you're the Arizona Rattlers at this point? So Bay Area continues to be Bay Area. Their defense played extremely well in this one. The offense did just enough to control the game and control the clock and really get things going. But yeah, Arizona is the story of this game, unfortunately, for how poor their offense was in this game, and continuing their skid of losing 4 in a row. They now dropped to 7-5, which in and of itself isn't bad, but considering they were 7-1 a month ago, not great. So they gotta figure it out. Figure it out. The final game of the week in the IFL was between the San Antonio Gunslingers and the San Diego Strikeforce, and San Diego won this game 53-40. 9. So San Diego has really ascended over the past month and a half or so of football in the IFL. They were looking like, what is going on? This team should be better than they are, but they've put together quite a winning streak, and they're sitting at 8-4 on the year so far, and they're in sole possession of second place in the Western Conference right now. And they looked really good on offense in this one. They were pretty efficient. Nate Davis was able to really get things going, but this offense flowed through Ed Vander, aka PJ Vander. Feed Vander, hashtag feed Vander. Everyone tweet that, post that. Vander is probably he's my favorite running back in the entire IFL. But if you follow me on X, you know that for a fact. But this offense just works when he is the proponent of it, when he is the motor for it. It was the same way when he was in Quad City last year. He was averaging 5 yards a carry, and they would just stop giving him the ball. In this game, San Diego started with 4 straight runs to Vander. He got him all the way down to the red zone. They were able to punch it in for a touchdown to start the game. He just sets the tone on the ground, and he is a really great weapon through the air as well. And he's just somebody that is a perfect match for what Nate Davis brings as a quarterback. Nate Davis not the most mobile guy. I think he was rocking 2 knee braces in this game, and he's getting up there. He's getting up there in age, and he's not as nimble as he used to be. But when you've got Rudy Johnson at wideout and running back, and then you've got Vander right next to him, he doesn't need to be mobile. Just feed Vander, give him the ball, and let the offense flow through him. But this offense looked really good, and San Antonio was able to go blow for blow with them towards the end of the game, and San Antonio was up 9 points at one point in this game in the second half, and San Diego fought back, and they were able to get some stops on defense, and really turned it on. And this was probably the best overall performance from the San Diego Strike Force we've seen this year in terms of both offense, defense, and special teams. Ernesto Lacayo hit a deuce that ended up tying the game in the second half, and really was a momentum launch pad for them. And yeah, San Diego looks really good. Like they looked really rough to start the year, and they're looking like the team that we thought they could be heading into this season. So I'm excited to see where San Diego goes from here, and how this offense can continue to evolve and flow. And the secondary for San Diego is just beat up beyond all belief. Name a player in the secondary for San Diego, and they were hurt either going into this game or as a result of this game. So I would not be surprised to see some DBs on the transaction report. Somebody pointed out that a lot of the DBs for San Diego right now played from Massachusetts last year, which makes sense. Defensive coordinator Rod Miller was in Massachusetts last year. He's in San Diego now. Massachusetts had a pretty good secondary last year, so San Diego's doing something right on both sides of the ball. And like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing how they continue to grow from here. But San Antonio, they're probably the most confusing team in the IFL right now for me. It looked like their offense was just dead in the water over the past couple of weeks. And then suddenly they exploded for 49 here. Joaquin Colazo, I think, had 6 passing touchdowns in this one, and he was slinging it. He was finding Naquan Murray. He was finding Glenn Gibbons Jr. Like he was finding everybody and connecting with. I think his first 3 touchdowns were to 3 different receivers, and they just looked really good. And it was like, where has this team been for the past month? Like where have they been? So they're sitting at I think 3-9 on the year. Let me check the standings here live. Make sure I get that right. Yeah, they're sitting at 3-9 on the year, and it's just confusing that the offense we just saw against San Diego. San Diego has a pretty good defense up to this point in the season, and the offense we just saw is on a 3-9 football team. San Antonio they're confusing. They're clearly talented on both sides of the ball. They have the pieces to do it. Clifton Duck came up with a couple key plays in the first half of this one to really propel them to a lead. And I don't know, it's San Antonio, you confuse me. If you have any insight or thoughts on San Antonio, please hit me up on socials and let me know, because they are just absolutely puzzling. And that's the show. Thank you so much for checking it out this week. And a big thank you again to JD Griggs for stopping by the program and talking about his football journey, talking about this year's Beaumont Renegades team, and then talking about his footwear and athletic line. Again, you can go follow it in the description below. So if you're watching me, Watch where I'm pointing. I'm pointing down. That's below. And if you're listening to me, scroll down just a hair, look at the description, and go give JD a follow. Go give FITA a follow, and they've got some really cool things on the horizon from what JD has teased a little bit. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do from here and how they can continue to build on the success in Beaumont. Beaumont first year in the NAL, they win the league championship behind a talented group of rookies and some veterans that were able to come in like JD and provide some guidance to them. So it's cool to get the peek behind the curtain of how things worked for Beaumont this year. So again, big shout out to JD. Go give him a follow on the socials and let him know you heard him on Off the Wall. AF1 is wrapping up this upcoming weekend with the Arena Crown. Nashville versus Albany. Albany's probably the favorite in this one, but I think Nashville's going to give them a run for their money. So as the week progresses, again, go follow us on socials and we'll provide some insights and commentary on all that fun stuff. IFL, got another full week of IFL ahead of us, and the playoff picture is getting shaken up weekly. Some teams are exactly who we thought they were. Some teams are surprising us on a weekly basis, but that's why you play the games. Games are played on turf, not on keyboards. Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm going with it. But big week of IFL football ahead. The end of the AF1 season, the inaugural AF1 season is upon us. So enjoy this upcoming week of football. There's only 24 hours in a day. The fact that you chose to spend like an hour and a half, hour 33. That's my guess for the length of this episode. Here, listening to me talk about arena football and listening to my conversation with JD means a lot. So I really appreciate all the love and support we've gotten so far. Please make sure you're following us on socials again at Off the Wall FB. F as in foot, B as in ball. Off the Wall FB. We're on all the socials, all the things and stuff. And again, like, subscribe on YouTube, rate 5 stars on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, like the episode, all the things and stuff. Share it with a friend. Do all those things, and yeah, we'll see you on the socials. We'll see you out there. And again, enjoy this upcoming weekend of football. Before we know it, indoor and arena football season will be over, and we will be very, very sad. But let me know what games you're watching. Let me know what teams you like. Let me know all the things and stuff. I want to hear it all. So again, go hit us up on socials, and we'll see you out there. Take care. Have a great rest of your week.